Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Saturday's showcase for the Funky Junkie here at the Crafty Corner. So we've had some fun altering some embellishments. Now, what to do with them? Well, I'm going to show you how I put together a Halloween themed vignette box. So let's head over to the Crafty Corner. So today we're going to be working on making a vignette box. We made some fun altered ephemera yesterday, and now let's create something with it. So I'm going to be doing a Halloween themed vignette box, and I've already got the base of it started to give us a little bit of a jump start. So for the vignette box, I decided to line it with some of the Holtz Halloween wallpaper. This stuff is fantastic, and it has a wonderful texture to it that makes it great to create with. And I've also already painted the edges of this box in Distress Soot Black paint. Now for the interior, I have measurements going at about 3 inches and 5/8 by 5 inches and 1/8. And I cut down my paper to fit on the inside of the box, securing it with some collage medium. On the opposite side, I have also added some Halloween Idea-ology paper from last year's Tim Holtz collection. And I'm going for kind of a bit of a Victorian theme. So I'm loving this kind of lacy floral pattern that melts from this really cool purple into kind of a maroonish color. So the next thing that we're going to do while the paint finishes drying on here, we're going to be altering some paper dolls. I made these fun distress glitter wings and mica wings yesterday, and I thought it'd be really fun to add these to some paper dolls. So to do that, we're going to need some paper dolls, and we're going to want a distress embossing ink pen. To color the paper dolls, I'm going to be using walnut stain and fire de brick. So let's go ahead and add some of the embossing ink to this paper doll. I'm using the brush tip pen today. I like this one because it gets around some of the tight curves on the paper dolls, but because it's a brush, it allows me to quickly cover large surfaces, which is very convenient when embossing. Okay, let me see how I did. I'm just going to tilt this, make sure that we've got good coverage. I can see the shine of the ink on the paper doll, so that is excellent. So we are ready to emboss. Got my scrap paper here, and we're just going to pour on the fire de brick. All right, pretty good. And I'm going to grab a brush and just gently brush away a couple of areas that have just a little bit too much powder. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and emboss. But first, I'm going to dump all that extra powder back into the jar. If I leave that out, I'm sure I will stick my elbow in it or accidentally knock it onto the floor. So I try to stay in the habit of always putting that extra powder away. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the embossing heat tool, and we're going to glaze this paper doll. Okay, and there's the first completed glazed paper doll. So I'm now going to attach the wings. And to do that, I'm going to be using a foam square. I'm just going to stick that right onto the wings, and we're going to pop that on the back of the paper doll. Nice and easy. So let's see here. That looks good. Just going to smush that. Okay, and there's the first paper doll. So let's go ahead and set this one aside. I am still absolutely loving those glittery wings. Those are just fun. Okay, so now I've got this one, and we're going to be glazing that with the walnut stain. And again, I'm just going to grab the distress pen and we're going to smear the embossing ink over the paper doll. Shouldn't take too long, and then we shall glaze. Okay, let's go ahead and tilt this. Oh, got a couple of little missing spots. That's why I check before glazing, because it's a pain to go back later and try to touch up the spots that you missed on round one. Okay, I'm liking that now, so let's emboss and glaze. Not bad, only a little bit to dust off. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and emboss that. Okay, and there's the next finished paper doll. So I'm going to grab the wings and another foam square and attach it. Smush that down. Okay, and we'll line that up. Oh, there we go, right there. That looks great. So now we've got these all ready to go. So we're going to set these aside for now, and we're going to take a look at the centerpiece of this little vignette. So we altered a really cool skull yesterday, which I'm absolutely loving, and we've got this really cool pedestal. So we're going to put these two things together, but I am also going to be adding a dome and a secondary pedestal for the skull to rest on. Now, in order to attach this, we're going to want the base. And for this, since we've got metal and wood, I decided to go with hot glue as my adhesive. So I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue right here and stick that on. Okay, just turning that upside down, making sure we're lined up. That looks good. Oh, definitely liking that. Now let's quickly alter this cork. For the cork, I want to add a little bit of tarnished brass distress paint. And I'm just going to grab my water brush to quickly add the paint on here. Maybe we'll grab a little bit of distress crayon to grunge this up just a bit. Okay, that was quick and easy. Now we'll just see about some of that distress crayon. Let's see. Oh, let's go with the usual. Let's use some walnut stain. Walnut stain is great for quickly grunging things. So I'm just going to quickly heat that with the heat tool to make sure I don't have any paint smearing. If my heat tool looks cleaner than usual, well, that would be because it's a new one. My first heat tool died a tragic death last week. Bounced one too many times off the floor, but I'm not going to complain because I had that one for over 4 years. Generally, not bad, but now I've got a nice shiny new one to play with. All right, let's go ahead and add that distress crayon. So we're just going to wipe that on there, and then I'll smush it with my fingers. There we go. I'm liking that. That's a bit more grungy. Okay, that looks good. Now let's attach the skull and the secondary pedestal. Just gonna add a little bit of hot glue to the base. Then we'll go ahead and stick that right on here. Okay, that looks centered. And now let's add the skull. Adding just a little bit more hot glue. Okay. Now, which side looks the best? Okay, I'm liking this side. So we'll stick the skull right here. That seems good. Now I'm just going to double check and make sure the dome is going to fit over that. Yep, that does. Now, we've got this really cool dome, but I don't want to leave it just like this. It needs something just a little bit extra. I'm going to be adding some icicle to the dome. I want it to have kind of a cracked glass look. But to do that, since this is a slick surface and the majority of the distress mediums work best on porous surfaces, we need to give the icicle something to cling to. So to do that, we're going to be adding a bit of collage medium. This will then give icicle something to stick to. So I'm just going to take a little bit out of here, put that on the dome, and I'm going to smear that around with my finger. Then we'll have to set this aside and let it dry. Oh, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be fun. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside. All right, I'll come back to that in a little bit. So next, let's finish embellishing the box. So now that I have the insides painted, we've got our wallpaper there, let's do something about these edges. For the edges, I've decided to use some washi tape, and I've got this washi tape that looks like really cool cigar box labeling. Very vintage, and kind of has a little bit of a Halloween vibe. So I'm just gonna place that down here. I'm gonna kind of work in the middle and work my way outwards. Okay, that looks all right. Now I'll start on the next layer. Just gonna overlap that a little bit. Oh wait, but I've got the edges that need covering too. You know what? I'm gonna go and grab some of the gold Christmas washi tape that has the pinked edge. That will cover up this edge in turn. And then I'll go back and add some more of this washi tape. All right, so I'm gonna set this down like that. And we're going to work our way around the edge. But for this one, I'm going to snip that off at each corner. Otherwise, we're gonna have some funny turns. Then we'll just fold that over. Okay. Yep, I'm liking the pinked edge. That is working out quite well. And we'll just keep turning the box. We've got 2 sides left. Just snip that off and push the edges down. That little hint of gold is going to look really good. Okay, last side. All right, let's continue covering up those edges. Okay, and we'll just overlap that. Good. And as I'm going around, I'm smoothing down the edges. Okay, back to the beginning, and let's just tear off that little piece. Good. One more section to wrap. Oh, and I also have those corners. You know what? Let's go ahead and add a little bit more of that gold. That'll work on the back as well. Okay, just like that. Cut it off here. And turn. That's looking good. All right, let's finish wrapping. Okay, just like that. Good. Yep, I am liking the edge. There we go. And back to the beginning. Okay, so now we can start seeing about adding some of the pieces in here. But let's check on our dome. Well, looks like it needs just a little bit more time. Not a big deal, because we've got some decorating to do on the inside of the box. So for the inside of the box, we're going to be using some of the embellishments that we previously made. And a couple of little extras that I just added in for fun. Okay. And I'm going to be needing some more collage medium, but this time I'm going to use the bottle with the fine tip applicator. All right, first things first, let's go ahead and add our sentiment. From Regions Beyond seems pretty appropriate for the theme. So I'll just add a little bit of collage medium, stick that down. I'll hold that for a moment, make sure it's going to stick well. This stuff adheres pretty fast, so I usually don't have to hold it long, but given that this is a larger piece, I'm just going to hold on to that for a little bit. But in the meantime, I can place these other pieces while I am waiting. So I'm thinking the clock thing is going to go here. I'm going to put the chemist sign up here. I've got the numbers 31. Ooh, you know what? I think I want to grunge these a little bit more with some black soot. I'll set that aside for the moment. I've got an Undertaker piece of ephemera that can go along the side. And I've also got something that says pharmacy. Spirit of camphor. Let's put that one down here. And since we've got that dome glass, handle with care, can put that right down in front. I'll look good. And I've also got this little bottle of distress glitter. Just looks cool. Okay. Let's go ahead and grunge this. I'm gonna just get a little bit of black soot distress paint, put a drop on there, and I'll just smear this up a little bit. All right, and I'm just gonna blot a little bit of that paint off. There, like that. Okay, I like that. That's a bit grungier. So I'm gonna add the numbers next. And again, I'll use some of the Distress Collage Medium. And we'll take this one. One thing I love about making vignettes, once you've got all of your elements together, everything just tends to just fall into place. And it's just a question of moving things around a little bit, shifting things until you like the look of what you're creating. I love vignettes because they allow so much freedom to just play and to create. Definitely a win. I think I want to ink those edges just a bit. That's better. Yep, definitely better. Okay, put that on here. Oh, and I need to hold that one. Okay, while I'm doing that, I can add a little bit of collage medium to this. Good. And let's stick that down. Next, we've got this piece. Okay. And for this larger piece, I'm going to add some hot glue to stick that in because I want to have that kind of propped up in the corner at an angle, just like that. Okay. All right, I'm liking that. And now let's go back to that dome and add on some of the icicle. Okay, I'm just going to dip right into the lid since we've already got some icicle hanging out there. I'm going to smear that right onto the dome. Now for the icicle, I'm going to be working it in a bit of a circular motion. That way I'm going to get the little ice fissures going in all directions. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that, and I'll have to set this aside for the moment. Now, while we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to add in the pedestal to the scene. So again, I'm going to take the hot glue gun, and we're going to add some to the base of this finial. Okay, ooh, I like it. Got the skull facing outwards. Looks good. Now I want to attach the little potion bottle in there. Just put a bit of hot glue on the base of it. Alright, I'm just going to tilt the bottle kind of on its side like that. Okay. But I feel like there's something missing. I want to add something to the ground. You know what? We're going to add some mica flakes. And mica flakes will kind of give it a neat shattered glass look. So I'm just going to take the collage medium and scribble a whole bunch onto the base. Okay, now we're going to grab the mica flakes and just dump that into the box. But not to worry, I've got scrap paper standing by. There. Already making a mess. Not a big deal. I can just brush that off and dump it back into the box. All right, scrap paper. Ooh, that is looking pretty cool. There we go. That's what the base needed. Much better. All right, let's go ahead, put the extra mica back in the jar. And I've still got a sign to add and the paper dolls. And then we'll come back and look at the dome. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that sign. That's gonna go right there. There we go. It blocks off a bit of the mica, but if you're looking at this from a different angle, you can still see it, which is good. All right, well, I'll come back to that. Now, let's go ahead and add the paper dolls. I'm just gonna set this at an angle for the moment. So I'm going to get a little bit of hot glue, apply that along the side, and stick down the paper doll. I'll just hold that for a moment. Good. Now the other side. Okay. Ooh, that is looking good. I really like. Oh, just need to push that up a little. Okay, just put this down, make sure that's still good. Yes. Okay. All right, just a moment, we'll come back and see how the dome looks. Okay, let's take a look at that dome. Now, we can see that we've gotten a little bit of crackle going on, and this is from Icicle. Because we put down the collage medium first, Icicle was able to stick to this dome, and now we've got this really neat kind of cracked, icy look going on. Pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and finish up the last couple of pieces for our Halloween themed vignette. So now with the dome, we're going to stick that over the skull and attach it to the base. And to do that, I'm going to be using some super glue. Normally I'd use hot glue, but because of the area that this is going, I think the super glue is going to be a little bit easier to use, and it's going to dry fast. And because this is glass, that's another reason to deviate from my typical adhesives. So just going to take this and run it around the edge of the glass. Another bonus to this particular super glue is that when it dries, it's going to dry with a kind of icy and frosted look. So the super glue that I'm using here is, it's the original super glue, and this is the gel type. I like the gel because it sticks really easily to pieces that you are trying to glue. Okay, let's move this just a little bit closer, and let's add the dome. Okay, looks good. Just going to press that in, and I'm going to hold that for a moment just to give it a chance to set. Okay, that is good. So we've got the dome on. Now, I've got this really cool little key, and I want that to kind of maybe dangle. Oh, I think I might just wrap it around the base. If I wrap it here, perfect. And I'll just get a little bit of hot glue on the side. Nope, let's go back and use the super glue. I'm going to put a little bit of super glue over here on the side to make it stick. There we go. All right, now I just need to get that little string and wrap. Okay, that works, and I'll just give that a quick trim. Good. All right, now for the finishing touches. Since we've kind of got a little bit of a shattered glass theme going, I wanted to add in a couple of mica fragments. So for that, I'm using these mica tiles, and I found these on Amazon, and these give a fantastic shattered glass look. So I've peeled off a couple of small pieces and then cut a jagged edge. To attach these, I am going to be using some hot glue. So I'm just going to take the hot glue and I'm going to run it along two of the edges, and then we'll just stick that right into the vignette tray. Okay, and a little bit on this side. So I'm just going to take that shard, tilt this. I'm going to slip that in right here. Good. I am liking the jaggediness of that. That is really fun. All right, and we'll take this piece and I'm going to stick that up at the top. And again, I'm just going to run a little bit of the hot glue along the edge of the mica tile. we go. Now I've got a couple of little glue strands floating around, but not a big deal. I'm just going to quickly hit that with the heat tool, and that'll take care of random glue strands. There, all good. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this Halloween themed vignette. So we've got the paper dolls on either side with their mica and glitter encrusted wings. We've got the skull on the inside of the dome with its little key. We've got our ephemera going on. I'm gonna back the camera out just a little bit. Regions beyond that we altered with some frosted crystal. We've got the side of the box that we added the washi tape to. We've even got the back that we covered with some of the Tim Holtz Idea-ology Halloween paper collection. And there is our finished vignette. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the process of seeing how this vignette box was made. I've had a lot of fun with this, and it's been a really fun process just playing and creating. Don't forget, many of these Idea-ology pieces are from years past, but you can definitely make some substitutions and use things from this year's release. I'm definitely thinking about the transparent wings from the newest collection that could easily be swapped in instead of these glitter wings, and that could look very cool too. So thank you so much for joining me today for the Funkie Junkie Saturday showcase. And until next time, happy crafting!